So do you ever water your active compost pile? So one of the main reasons for compost piles to fail is too much or too little water in the pile. Today I'd like to share with you how to test your compost pile moisture level so you have just the right amount of water in your pile so it processes properly. So there's three things that affect the moisture level in your compost pile: your annual rainfall, how you water the pile, and how much you stir your pile. So your average rainfall, depending on how much rain and humidity you have, will determine if your pile has too much water in it or if it's just too dry to process properly. So the moisture level needs to be just right to get the pile to process properly. So I live in the high mountain desert where we get an average annual rainfall of 9 inches a year, and some places can get over 100 inches of rain a year. So if you live in a low rain area, you're going to want to water your active compost pile every 3 weeks or so. Now, if you live where the rain level is high, you're going to want to cover your active compost pile to keep it drier while you're actively making compost. Now, if you cover your pile, you want to use a cover above the pile, not on the pile. So you could use a canopy, that's a couple feet above, or you could build a roof and compost under the roof. So you want it to be able to breathe, so you don't want plastic directly on top of the pile. Number 2 is watering the pile. For us, we water each layer of the pile as we're building it. I use a hose with a water breaker on it. So the water breaker makes the water come out kind of like a water can would, and I water the pile thoroughly. All right, number 3 is stirring the pile. So depending on how often you stir the pile will help control the moisture level. So if you're wanting to get rid of too much moisture, then stir the pile more often. All right, let's recap this a little bit. You want to cover the pile if you get a lot of rainfall. You want to water the pile if you get too little rainfall. You want to water each layer as you're building the pile, and you want to stir the pile if you need to get rid of some water. All right, now let's teach you how to check the moisture level in your active pile to see if you need to cover, water, or stir. All right, so what you want to do is grab a handful, and if you can squeeze a lot of water out of it, then it's too wet. So you want to stir the pile a few times to help keep it dry. So if you squeeze a handful and you can get a few drops of water out, then it is just right. Your pile has the perfect moisture. So if you squeeze a handful and you can't get a drop of moisture out of it, it's too dry. So go ahead and water the pile and then retest the next day. So keep doing this until you can squeeze out a few drops. So keeping your compost pile at the ideal moisture level while you are actively composting will help the microbes decompose the material properly. So once your pile is done, then you can just let it dry out for storage. And if you would like to learn more compost success secrets, you can jump onto our compost success playlist. That's on our YouTube channel. I'll put the link in the description below. And having a diverse microbial population in your compost pile can help it to break down faster. So if you'd like to get some of our compost microbes to inoculate your compost pile, you can go to our website, thelivingfarm.org, and order a bag of the TLF Microbial Compost Accelerator.